Hello? Can anyone around here speak basketball?
There it is.
It's the Confederacy of Dunks Basketball Podcast.
We're going back to back. Welcome to the Confederacy of Dunks Basketball Podcast. I am your host, Freddie Rivas, and who, sir, are you?
Producer Matt Duncan, how are you doing, sir?
I am, I'm doing okay. Yeah, I'm punching my way through this pandemic.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
You know, I'm doing all right. There's some ups and downs and all of this like we're all having, but, you know, I'm trying to stay as positive as possible. And I'm glad that we get to do this podcast and add some content. Every time we're done, I feel like I'm energized again, you know?
Yeah, me too. And I'm quite thankful for these Last Dance episodes.
Yes.
They're giving us some content that is, although not current, kind of like, you know, new again in a way.
Yeah, no, definitely new again. And, you know, for me, I'm learning a lot of stuff that I didn't know. You know, I just knew the team was great. I didn't know all the inside stuff like this.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Is there anything that like I'm watching it with my wife, and you know, all sorts of stuff. Like she knows quite a bit as well, but you know, a lot's jumping out to her. Is there anything that kind of you know, because like me and you don't exactly talk on the pod about what's kind of jumped out as like new to either of us. But yeah, is there anything that jumps to mind?
I guess I didn't like, I always heard that Michael Jordan was like big into gambling and stuff, but I didn't realize how intense he was into it. And they kind of, you know, in the last couple episodes, you get to dabble into that a little bit and see, you know, just like, even when they're like throwing the quarters at the wall, the security guards, it's just so funny to see. You know, it's like, oh man, yeah, that's like the purest form of someone who that might have a gambling problem, was like, you know, trying to find absolutely anything you can bet on kind of thing. But, and also just how he handled it, where like he kind of is like, I don't know, everything's fine. Like, you know, I was kind of like, oh, okay. What is something wrong then? I don't know. What's going on?
The Ahmad Rashad sunglasses interview is quite the scene.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, see, like I didn't realize that was going on, that there was like, you know, all of this controversy in that season. And, you know, it just seems like it would have been such a tense. It was interesting to hear him say it. He's like, my body's getting tired, but he's like, his mind is like way past tired, you know, like.
Yeah, and I think he has said so many, you know, even though he's obviously like a guarded guy for, you know, pretty documented reasons.
Yeah.
He's like one of the most famous people in the world, but he definitely has said some kind of like telling things. Like what he said something last episode. It's kind of escaped the tip of my mind right now, but it's something along the lines of his, with the betting, just saying that I want to have some of like, even like, you know, even though the guys were betting $1 each, he said, like,
I want your money in my pocket.
Your money in my pocket. And it's just like, it's just like he has so many unique ways of being like diabolical, or just the attitude. And obviously, you know, it wasn't just him, but the attitude towards Isaiah Thomas, even if Isaiah Thomas was a jerk, it's just kind of like, it was just really, he's just really intense. And, and it would be scary, I think, in a lot of ways, to be around a competitor like that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Were you going to jump in with something?
Well, no, I was just going to say that security guard with like the curly mullet, he seems
cool.
He seems like a real strange character. And if there's going to be a spinoff from this, I'd like to learn more about him.
Oh my God. Yeah. That guy, 100%. I could see him popping up like in like different, you know, just like photos in history.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God,
absolutely.
he was part of the Madonna RuPaul like drag scene in New York in the 70s. You know what I mean? And like,
I feel like that guy came to the is it the United Center where they play? I think it's the United. Yeah. I feel like he came to the United Center for like an Eagles concert, and he just never left. He just
he just sleeps in a cot. Or how about that? How about, man, we're not even talking about the guy that really got Michael into trouble in the beginning with like the guy, the kind of has the Jerry curls. Like the guy who's
Slim?
Like, a full-time caddy hustler.
Yeah.
Like that sounds like a throwback B movie.
Yeah.
Like this like guy who's like a caddy hustler. But it's like, no, that's Michael Jordan's friend.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. We need to get more into that story too, and that $57,000 debt Michael Jordan paid him.
That guy like basically couldn't even wake up for Tiger King. Like that guy's watching Tiger King and he's like, boring.
Yeah.
I do golf shit. I'm crazy.
Oh God.
Okay, let's set people up here. So if you're listening to us, thank you so much. You found us. If you want to find us or share us or tell people about us, where can people do that, Matt?
Well, you can go on to the old classics, as I like to call them, iTunes and Spotify and Stitcher, where you can. Please subscribe, please rate. Those who have, thank you so much. It means a lot to us, and it helps us move on up to the east side. And we just, go to dunkspodcast.com. We've got all our links there for all our social media, as well as, subscribing to iTunes and whatnot.
And what if people, they want to put something on their head for warmth or fashion, but they're terrified of, the fact that they just don't know if it will itch or not?
You know what? I woke up today and I was like, holy darn, it is cold out. And we've got a cure for that. We've got anti-itch toques, Confederacy of Dunks. Probably the only anti-itch toque you're going to find on the market. Well worth the cheddar. You got to dish out $20 a head top. Let us know. We've got a Shopify to handle all this money, and we can get that to you in the mail. Snail.
And what about if you so believe in us, you want to be an investor in this podcast, so that when we break out of this coronavirus pandemic hellscape, we'll be the biggest podcast in the world.
Well, you can go to our Patreon page at Dunks Podcast. Patreon.com/Dunks Podcast. And we also have a link on our website. You can help support us any way you can, and we can put a little more juice into the pod and more content. You also get some exclusive stuff. You get the episodes before they hit the airwaves everywhere else. Get them early, and you might get some Freddie's hot sauce. And
hey. No biggie.
Hopefully you got some new peppers on the horizon for your next batch.
We do. I got the seeds humming, some Dragon's Toast, some Genghis Khan. I don't even know what those are. I'm just hoping they're hot.
Nice.
But we got some great guests on the pod. So let's jump to it. And Matt, if you're ready, you better say okay.
Okay.
Okay, let's fire it up here. Guest number one, he's hilarious. He has been on the podcast, I think, twice. He should be on the podcast more. He's one of the best sketch dudes I know, and he's just a radical man. How about this? I did a commercial once with him, and basically everyone on set was going wild for him the whole time, and I'm like, I hate you guys because I actually know him more, and then it was a weird conflicting feeling. But give it up at home for Patrick Ronan Stewart.
Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm happy to be alive. that was a very fun commercial because I just yelled and just went woo for like 45 minutes, and they're like, "Hey, you're gonna get paid $20,000, but it's just $700." But hey, I'm not complaining.
Yeah, that was a bit of a roller coaster.
It was weird.
Bit of a non-union gig there.
Hard selling how much we were going to get paid, and then yours didn't get picked up at all, and then mine got picked up for a couple $100.
Wow. Sorry, were you going to say something, Matt?
No, I just said it sounds like a non-union gig. Non-union?
Very union, actually.
That was a union gig?
It was union, baby.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Okay, let's let's move on from this commercial shop
Very
talk.
niche. Very niche.
And let's bring on guest number 2, who could also join in the commercial shop talk, but we're here to talk some ball. He's awesome. He's a great stand-up, and he's been on the podcast a million times. Give it up for Attuah.
We just wanted to wait and have our play on.
Waiting for the drop?
Wow.
I was waiting for the drop.
Yeah, we let the beat ride.
I
on
did.
that one.
You know what? It reminded me of this past weekend up in the 6, where the weather was wonderful, and that song always makes me feel like summer.
That was you jumping the barricades at the cherry blossoms at Hyde Park?
Oh, not my jam, but if I live closer, I might be compelled to. Yes.
I live very close, and I'm going to listen to this podcast tomorrow, and I'll have a very meta time. And during this sequence, I'm going to do that in broad daylight.
Oh, people will not stop you because as soon as you're like, wait, it's on the pod, they'll be like, oh, we understand.
Yeah. Freddie, while you're there,
I think
while you're there, Freddie, would you free the capybaras again?
Sure. Yeah. One thing I'm never afraid to do is free an animal that's already broken free. Because to me, I'm like, you know what you want.
Yeah.
Let me help. Okay, let's get cracking here on some basketball talk. It's going to be basically all Last Dance or Last Dance associated episodes 5 and 6 today. Matty, I don't know if you got a sting for question 1, but if you got something, give it to me.
This is Adam Silver.
Okay, episodes 5 and 6. There's so much going on that I'll just kind of let unravel through the questions and throughout the episode. But probably some of the big overarching things is we saw Jordan's 3rd title against Phoenix as the first three-peat, the introduction of Toni Kukoč, and then also, of Jordan's nefarious behaviors of gambling and that sort of thing, and kind of just moving beyond Michael Jordan as this figure that's just kind of like idolized. Obviously, the Dream Team was in there as well. So obviously there might be a bit of issue with the phrasing of this question. My guests were kind of razzing me a little bit, but I'll just let it fly. Pat, I'm going to start with you. If you didn't know, if you were someone, or if you weren't super familiar, what's more shocking? Looking back at just how incredibly dominant this New York Knicks team was, being in the state they are now. Mm-hmm. And then also just how elite Charles Barkley was. Like, he was someone that was so good that it made sense for him to genuinely believe he was better than Michael Jordan. Obviously he lost and then that changed, but sorry. Yeah.
I think I would go Barkley because him now is just this walking meme kind of guy. Like, he's just funny. Like, he's just a guy on TV.
Yeah.
And also he's not in any of the video games at all because he doesn't want to be in there. So I think a lot of kids don't know how good he actually was.
That's a great point.
Opposed to the Knicks, where you're watching the Knicks and you just think to yourself, they had to be good at one point in their time.
Right. To be like a storied franchise.
To be a franchise that exists,
Yeah, fair enough.
Because if they stuck forever, why the hell are they still around?
So were you a big Barkley fan at any point, or is that just something you kind of knew in the back of your head? And then seeing this, you're kind of like, oh yeah. Are you gonna go back and watch any Barkley?
He has a lot of fun highlights. I remember in high school, I used to smoke weed and just watch old 1990s clips, and I think just watching that small round man dunk the ball was always a lot of fun.
Yeah, he like I'm just looking at like his kind of like overall like stats. Here's something that's kind of nuts. His lowest scoring season that he ever played was 14 points.
Wow.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna flip to you. Watching kind of how good the Knicks were and how dominant Barkley was in these last episodes. Did one jump out to you more than the other?
The one thing let's have some caveats. First, growing up, I was a big New York Knicks fan. My brother, one of the reasons why he wears number 3, because my brother always liked the same teams that I like, is because he was a big John Starks fan. He really liked John Starks wore number 3. It's like 90% of the reason why he's an Allen Iverson fan is because Allen Iverson wore number 3 and was a Hoya, and he loved Georgetown. So putting the two together was like a match made in heaven. He ended up being a really good player. So I was like huge watching that, like Charles Smith miss all those last second shots brought so much anxiety back. I just relived that moment. I was in that moment again. That all being said, the Knicks were not a good team. I am so sorry, but like there is something about that narrative about the Knicks being a good team and being the next Detroit Pistons, and you look at the episodes before who the Detroit Pistons were. Like the Detroit Pistons were like good play, like a bad call away from three-peating. And these Knicks can never get it together. Like they needed Michael Jordan out of the league, and even then, that third-seeded Chicago Bulls team took them to 7 games the year they were gone, and then for them to lose the Rockets in the finals, like it was pretty weak sauce. I mean, Charles Barkley, I knew Charles Barkley was good, even though the Phoenix Suns final was like the one final I was like heavily rooting for the Bulls because I really wanted to see a three-peat when I was a kid. I wanted to see what that was like. But like Charles Barkley I knew was good. Like I knew Charles Barkley was good in Philly, and he was an MVP. He was really good, but I knew he wasn't Michael Jordan. Even as a Knicks fan, every Knicks fan knew Michael Jordan was the best player in the league. But to be like that Knicks team was like a pure rival to the Bulls. No, they weren't. They weren't a pure rival. They were a pure rival the way like the Raptors were a rival to the LeBron James Cleveland Cavaliers. And I'm a Raptors fan, but I'm sorry. LeBron looked at the schedule and was like, okay, this might take 6 games, but we're still getting by them. Michael Jordan did the same thing. He was like, okay, we got the Knicks. It's not going to be a sweep, but we're getting by these guys. So that's the big thing that I'm really shocked of is everyone's looking at these Knicks teams going, they were so good in the 90s. The Knicks were so good in the 90s. And I was a big fan of the Knicks in the 90s. So it's me coming back going, I guess I just wanted a New York team to just do it for some reason.
Yeah, I think that's always a feeling in most of the major leagues. Like there's these kind of signature teams that people feel like it's important for them to be good, to kind of like generate just popularity for the league. And
everyone thinks like a good team in LA and a good team in New York will be more money for the league because of the 2 biggest markets, which is, I always think, like the biggest load of crap, especially in the internet social media age where everyone knows who everyone is regardless of where their market is. I also thinking back, like the moment the Raptors were in the league, I stopped cheering for the Knicks altogether. Like it wasn't even like they're my second favorite team. It was
I was gonna ask you that.
I was like, who are these guys? I don't. They were like the ex-girlfriend in high school. You're like, no, I didn't date them. No, not at all.
So I feel like it's fair for you to set the record straight on the Knicks, and I'm just kind of looking back here as well, and like, these Riley teams and these Van Gundy teams were really good. Like they, but I think it's also fair that you're saying they weren't as good as the Pistons. Like this wasn't a team that was threatening a three-peat. So let me just read this to you guys. I'll start from 1990, or 89-90. So we got lost conference semis, lost first round, lost semis, lost conference finals, lost in the finals, lost conference semis, lost conference semis, lost conference semis, lost conference semis, and then I'll stop here in 98, 99, where they lost in the finals again. Actually, the year after that, they also lost in the 2099 year. They lost in the conference finals. So this Knicks team was winning a lot, and they really did have like very good records throughout the 90s, and win a lot of playoffs, but or a lot of playoff games. But to your point, Yao, I think they were more so a thorn in the side of Jordan. I think, unfortunately, the Raptors were even less than a thorn in LeBron's side.
Yes, sadly.
Okay,
Well,
let me go. Sorry,
but we got a ring.
Yeah, we got a ring. So
not over LeBron though.
Yeah, 100% not over LeBron.
Hey, listen, let's look at the comparables. LeBron left the Eastern Conference. We got a ring. Michael Jordan left the game of basketball. They lost in the finals. I mean, talk about.
Well, I mean, they still won the East then, though. Like that's kind of the same logic.
They did not take advantage of the gap that was left by Michael Jordan. And I'm not saying the Knicks weren't good teams. They were just not as good, not nearly as good as people remember them. Like there's this fondness about the 90s, in which an era which I do love, but there's this fondness around like this rivalry that just isn't.
Well, yeah.
Not it.
I hope you know that a bunch of guys that are dressed like Jerry Seinfeld are gonna attack you as soon as you step outside. Like a bunch of people in 90s wear are just gonna rush you. So
they're gonna rush me online. No,
you got a hex.
In real life.
Okay, let's move to question number 2. Matty, I keep throwing to you. I don't know what you got, but oh wait, sorry, this isn't a question. This is actually this is my 2K player. So Matt, actually, if you have some classically inspirational music, I'd love to read you guys my 2K player's most recent accomplishments.
There you go.
Whew, here we go. I hope you guys are ready for this.
Yes.
Federico Rivas was drafted by the Raptors. Obviously, there's no chance for me to fill that Kawhi gap, but we're getting kind of deep into the season. I accidentally simmed 2 games, really pissed me off.
Ooh.
But I'm gonna read to you guys some of Federico Rivas's player highlights, and I'll field a couple questions afterwards if you got anything for me. So, first things first. I'm averaging 14 points, 3 rebounds, and 7 assists.
Okay.
46% from the field, 37% from 3. So these are lots of big improvements here. I got my first triple-double. It was massive. It was a flat 10 and 10. I think I got 24 points or something like that, but pretty big game.
Nice.
4th now in rookie voting. And I got named to the rookie-sophomore game, which I got to play. I got a bit benched, but no complaints. I was honored to be there. I also don't like, though, that I didn't get to choose my nationality, so I was on Team U, like the American team. And, I wish I was on the Team World. And more importantly, and this is what I really got to work on here, the Raptors, with me, our next game is against Phoenix, are currently 32 and 23.
Okay.
And the Raptors in the real world at this time were 40 and 15. So they're still quite a bit better without me. But I'm doing my best, and I think we'll be in good shape come playoff time. We've now moved into 4th place, and last little fact, I got a text from the assistant coach, and the franchise wants to give me some play calling privileges. So they're showing me the Raptors playbook, and I get to design a couple plays here and there. And that's it for my 2K player for the week. Do you guys have any questions?
Oh, yes. Were your stats better on those two simmed games, or were you worse?
Matt, I'm glad you asked. It's a painful question. Much better. The stats, I had a record 5 for 8 threes. So I hit 4 threes in a game once. And the other game I went 4 for 7. So I've never even come close to that. If I hit 4 threes or 3 threes, I've taken 10 or 11 shots from range.
Freddie, real quick. Hi, this is Eric Johnson from Slam Magazine.
Hello, sir.
I am just wondering, in your triple-double game, did you end up winning the game?
I lost, and for my comment option, I chose to mention that I still thought the accomplishment was important, even though it wasn't a loss.
Hey there, Freddie. It's me, Joe Smith from realnames.com. I have a quick question for you.
Hello, Joe.
I'm to believe that you are, this is the last year of your contract. Are you going to re-sign with the Raptors or spread your wings somewhere else?
This is a great question. I think I'll see how we do. Obviously, I've grown up a Raptors fan. And I podcast about the Raptors. So this is a really unique opportunity for me, also being a player. But I think if I don't win a championship, I might explore my options.
Wow. Do you have any teams in your mind?
I think I'll have to pick a team that has not won a championship because my life's a video game, so it'll be fun to go to a place that sucks and then win.
Oh, Freddie, this is Todd Michaels from Sports Blog.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, I am just wondering, the rookie-sophomore game, were you overwhelmed by the moment?
I think I was a bit overwhelmed by the moment. I called for the ball probably 20 times too much, as what the video game said. But I also think I didn't get my fair shot. Zion's ahead of me in popularity. So is Ja Morant. And I just didn't get enough playing time. Trae Young, he was taking a lot of shots, and I kept running over to him and demanding the ball. So I think the coach probably didn't like that. And, I guess a bit overwhelmed, maybe a bit over-aggressive. But I got 7 assists.
Oh, okay.
So no biggie. I think that about does it.
Sorry, Freddie, one more question.
Sure.
Hi, I'm Gert Wheeler from Sports with a Z at
Hey, Gert. Yeah, we love you, Gert.
Oh, Gert, love the pieces you've been writing lately.
Yeah, Gert. We should be asking you the questions. You're a bit of a celebrity questioner.
You're the GOAT.
But sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I just know that earlier on in your career you had some endorsement trouble where I think it was Puma walked out of the room when you demanded more money. Is there any other endorsements on the horizon? And are you going to pull an MJ and, hide the endorsement of another brand if you have to?
Very good question. Gatorade's in the mix. Beats is also a sponsor. Yeah, like Beats. They're in the mix now. And Puma still. I'll say this, no more walkouts. People are treating me with a lot more respect these days. But I was told by the franchise that I get to pick a cause. So I'm really excited to pick a cause, and I'm hoping that cause can be, like Antifa or something like that.
Openly Antifa.
Yeah, I want my guy to, I really want him to shock the world. So, or maybe not Antifa, maybe something along the lines of Mr. Robot, So I think I want
the mentality.
I think both. Maybe a bit of like if my guy is like actually I'm Banksy, that'd be cool. But yeah, we'll see what his causes can be. But I definitely want to take it in a less branded direction. Maybe some David Blaine stuff. We'll see. But I think that about does it for the segment. We're gonna move back to The Last Dance and talk about I think someone that everyone's kind of feeling for, and that's a one Mr. Toni Kukoč. Matty, if you got a sting, would you give it to me, baby? Uh-oh.
Can somebody get Nurse a fisherman's friend, please?
Not a COVID sting. Check the tapes. That was done way before this crisis. That is a fisherman's friend plug for Nick Nurse. It's in his contract.
Audio.
He has to have a sore throat. It's in his contract.
Everyone's favorite audio piece by a one Matt Duncan. It's the sound of someone coughing in a hallway.
Well, no, they're on a court. They're on a court. There's basketballs dribbling, for goodness sake.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. There is basketball dribbling.
But it does sound pretty empty there, though.
It does sound pretty. Yeah, it's not. I would say right now,
God.
Those are fairly triggering sounds.
It is a triggering sound.
And we're on week 5.
I love that you've not given up on that sound, Matty. Thank you. Through.
I'm getting us through this, guys. Okay?
I have a quick suggestion.
Sure.
Have we tried a fisherman's friend to cure the virus? Have we thought of that yet?
Ooh.
Have we?
I think you just did. And
The Raptors are all negative with it, and you know why? Nick Nurse gave them all fisherman friends. Think about it.
That's what he did on the plane when they were coming
What
back.
he did on the plane right after.
Oh, he just knew.
Take
Chew
these.
up, boys.
They just played Utah, and they were like, "Hey, have a fisher's friend." Right? I don't know. I feel it.
Yeah.
I like the idea that if someone had the cure to like a global pandemic, that they would like toss it to people on a plane and say, "Chew it up, boys."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like I like how scientific that is. Like he's that confident, but at the same time, he's not going to be like super detailed or elaborate. Like he's just going to say,
"He's not a nerd. He plays guitar."
yeah. He's going to leave it. He's going to leave the administering to each individual. That's right. He's not a nerd.
It's a very Arkell's move of him.
Yeah, he's cool. Okay. Speaking of cool, I'm sure he's worn a bunch of leather in his day. Former Yugoslavia, Croatia man, Toni Kukoč, had a pretty damn good NBA career and was fairly early on the trend of international players, which is obviously increasing every year. Pat, let's start with you. Obviously, Tony, I think the way he's portrayed in the doc is that, it's this guy who kind of is bullied. And I think that was kind of like a one-off experience, where the reality of his career is that he was really good and he won a lot of championships with the Bulls. I'm not sure. I don't think he didn't win all 6. I think he perhaps won 4.
3.
4 or 3. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I thought he was on the whole back half. And then a bit of like the first half, but regardless, who to you is kind of like an example? That doesn't have to be a current player, but someone who, for whatever reason, was perceived a certain way and then kind of like excelled or was much better than that, and kind of like blasted that initial description away.
Like a couple of guys first popped to my mind. I thought of Victor Oladipo, where like on the Magic it just didn't work. On OKC it just didn't work. But then with the Pacers he became like a real star. I also thought of Dirk. I think Dirk's a good like example here because
he's a great one.
He was super soft. Even though he was like MVP, like probably top 3 guys in the league for like 3 to 4 years, but then he just couldn't win a championship. And then in 2011, he made history and beat like the devil team, the Heat. So, yeah, I think Dirk is
he's a really good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple guys that jumped to my head was I guess I was thinking not as good as Dirk. But for me, a big one is actually J.R. Smith, because I tried to think about a guy that was really talented, and people, his whole career kind of wanted to describe him as this like complete knucklehead who would blow up any situation. And, that's 100% true. And he did that a lot, but he also proved that he can be a part of like some incredible teams. And, was a part of one of the most miraculous championships of all time, and one of the best feats of winning of all time in the comeback with the Warriors. The comeback against the Warriors. So
he also helped the Warriors win that 1 year too.
He did. He certainly did. But I think he kind of proved that he was more than just this knucklehead. He proved that he could win at the like absolute highest levels, which to me, not everyone's going to be an all-star or an MVP type guy. But I think if you, at any point in your career, can be like a major rotational piece of a championship run or of a title run, I think like there's not much that can be said about you. Like you are an absolute winner. Like even like watching a guy like Paxton, hit that shot. It's like he's good to go. Like he just feels good about that moment for the rest of his life. And I mean, I'm not saying Paxton had a lot of doubters, but yeah, I'll jump to you. Is there any guys you think maybe had a bit of a rough start and then? Oh, sorry. My other guy was Markelle Fultz. He's not there yet.
Let's hope.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say that's a bit early, but yeah. Was there any guys that jumped to your mind? Kind of like
that had like a rough start, and you're like, ugh, I don't know, and then became good. I can't really think. The only person that really comes to mind is Steph Curry, where people were like,
I was thinking him too.
He was injury prone. People thought he was too small. They didn't think he was going to do anything. The Raptors were close to like trading up to get him, but they just couldn't make the move happen. And they get drafted, and he was kind of like meh in his rookie year, and then suddenly now the whole league is modeled around how he plays. So it's only and like if you look at that draft, I don't know what we're look at later, but if you look at that draft, like he wasn't hyped. He wasn't the person that people would think, oh, this guy's going to go first overall or top 5. He was like barely a lottery pick, and even when he got picked in the lottery, people weren't even sure. So it's the only player I could think of that like kind of exceeded expectations, other than if I was being a homer, like Villanova's own. You thought it was going to say Kyle Lowry? No, Alvin Williams, who was also on a playoff winning team and exerted leadership, stepped up when people thought he couldn't. So those are the two players that popped in my head.
Yeah, and I think those are great examples too, because like Steph also was so good he changed the game, and then Dirk is a guy as well who I think he kind of like inherited a lot of like European doubt and just kind of like dismissive behavior in the NBA.
Yeah.
And he really had to kind of overcome that. And I think in a similar but different way, Steph was this guy who kind of like, you can't win just by like, like jump shooting teams can't win championships, right? Like that's like a very popular thing. Or
yeah,
even though the weirdest part about Golden State that never gets talked about is how incredible they were on defense their entire run. But yeah, like I think Steph did change the game. He's like, no, you can't just shoot your way to a championship. Sure. Pat, any more guys that popped to mind when we were talking?
Your JR pick got me thinking about JaVale McGee.
Oh, he's a great one. Yeah, I was kind of fishing for guys.
Champion.
Like, he's a
the two-time champion.
Two-time champion. Yeah. He's a perfect example.
Yeah, like an absolute joke at the start. I mean, like him and Shaq had a whole beef about it.
Yeah,
like,
no,
he was
100%.
the biggest joke on the internet. But then he's had some good years with the Nuggets, and then also with the Warriors. He's a real player. And then even this Lakers team, I feel like he's like an emotional leader.
Yeah, he's kind of like teaching like Dwight. He's like, you just gotta chill. You know what I mean? And like a guy like Dwight is like, oh.
I would say Dwight Howard is my opposite pick. Like a great start and a terrible everything else.
Yeah, no. Dwight is one of those guys where he basically like is like a lock for the Hall of Fame.
100%.
But had so many years where like he's almost has a Weezer effect, where he's had so many.
That's amazing. He is the Weezer of basketball. That's very accurate.
Because, it's now not even like 2 albums away from his like really good album. It's like you're looking at like 7 or 6 or however many, albums Weezer has. But yeah, if you look at those Magic days, it's like this guy's absolutely.
I own his jersey.
ridiculous.
That's how much I love Dwight Howard.
Okay, I think we're kind of enjoying the past a little bit. It might be time to move over to Matty's draft from the past. Unless, Yao, I want to give you the opportunity. Any other guys come to mind for you here?
I can't think of anybody who greatly exceeded expectations. The only player that came to mind where expectations were a little skewed by the time they hit the league is Arvydas Sabonis, where everyone was like, this guy can take over. But he spent so long in Europe. By the time he finally came over and played with the Trailblazers, he wasn't the same player. He was still pretty good, but people were like, this was the guy you guys were talking about this whole time. But it's kind of like the other way.
Right, yeah. I think that's pretty fair. From a personal standpoint, I remember I was upset with the Valanciunas draft for like 2 months.
Me too.
And then was like, wait a second. Lithuania's different than Italy. And then, a lot of lessons learned for me. Yeah, different country, different players, and different people from the same country are also different players. So Freddie's learning a lot about people. But
2012 was a big year for Freddie.
Yeah, picking up on a lot of nuances. Big year. Matt, do you want to take us back to some period in time with Matty's draft from the past?
Let's do that. Now, I'm trying to kind of keep it related a little bit to The Last Dance because we're pretty Last Dance-centric on these podcasts recently, and I figured, well, why not go back to the Last Dance season because there's also a big draft for the Raptors. So let's go back to 1998 and the conclusion of the Last Dance championship. Ooh. Whoa, look, you guys in the wormhole with me?
His sound cues are always ready to go.
If you look to your left there, you'll remember that in 1998, Clinton dropped his most imitated line of his career, the "I did not have sexual relations with that woman" line.
Oh, I see that.
Yeah, he did. Dr. Dre, this producer came out and he signed an unknown rapper to Aftermath Entertainment named Marshall Mathers, better known as Eminem. That's when he got his start with Dr. Dre. And as you know from the Last Dance, the last 2 episodes, Seinfeld aired its 2-part series finale, garnering 76.3 million viewers. And I just can't think about how weird it was to see Jerry when he was in that dressing room. Like, he seem so like
his bits didn't
weird.
hit.
Yeah, no, it was
he was bombing.
Yeah.
It was really funny.
Wait, Matt,
Matt,
I want to throw back to you, but I just want to. I'm so glad you brought up Jerry Seinfeld because I was going to ask in the Quickish Questions later on. But has anyone ever seen someone less fazed by Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
Like, he makes like Ahmad Rashad looks like he's sweating buckets when he's around Michael Jordan. Jerry was like, hello, I barely care. Jerry was walking around like, when he said like, good luck in the game tonight to like the player who he for sure didn't recognize. I was like, this is insane. Michael Jordan is like the biggest celebrity in the world. And somehow Jerry Seinfeld is like, I'm bigger than you. Like, he obviously wasn't, but I don't know. It was very interesting seeing Michael Jordan like kind of like delicately talk to Jerry.
Yeah.
And Jerry be like, oh, this isn't that big of a deal. Like, I know Jerry wasn't being very funny, but to me, it was also odd to see someone who wasn't totally just like
Enamored by
Michael Jordan, like someone who was in some way equal celebrity.
Well, no, we've talked a lot about 90s fashion on The Last Dance. Like, then Jerry comes in the room and it's like, look at his 90s fashion, like tucked in pink dress shirts into blue jeans with no belt. Jerry Seinfeld, folks.
She's a Trivago sex machine.
That's a great name for a band.
Two more facts about 1998 that everybody's going to be wondering about. I bet you were wondering, when did Elton John become Sir Elton John? That was 98.
I was wondering.
He was riding off that Candle in the Wind, and that's what got him in. It's like she could not knight him after that in 97, right?
Oh, that song was huge.
Yeah. It's like, we have to knight him. We have to knight him. Yes, Queen, we will. Jesus. And then the last thing, I didn't realize this, but after The Last Dance, the NBA entered into a player lockout that shortened the season by 50 games.
Yep, I remember that.
Holy cow.
So first came out winning the title.
So that's all that happened in 98. Let's go to the draft in Vancouver, Canada.
Heyo.
Whoa. Mounds are beautiful. All right, so now we're in the draft here. 1990. This is a big draft for the Raptors, not by the pick that they drafted, but who they traded on the same day. First overall, LA Clippers took Michael Olowokandi. Yeah. Olowokandi. Yeah, you thought I was going to screw that up, but I looked it up.
I knew you were going to screw that up.
Did I screw it up? I thought I said it right. Olowokandi.
Yeah.
Is that still wrong?
You're doing okay. You're moving pretty fast in the middle.
Well, I won't screw this up. Second, Vancouver took Mike Bibby.
Okay, that's really good.
Mike Baby.
Mike Bibby. Bibby is the best thing I've ever heard.
Third overall, Denver took Rafe LaFrance.
Nailed it.
Fourth overall, the Toronto Raptors took Anton Jameson, followed by the Golden State Warriors taking Vince Carter, fifth overall. And it was a draft day trade, obviously. Vince going to the Raptors for cash. I still don't understand this trade. Why we didn't just take him fourth overall? Maybe you guys can elaborate.
I think it was a scenario where one team, like where both teams wanted each player. Like we wanted Vince.
Yeah.
And they wanted Jameson.
Oh, okay.
So I think the teams were just kind of talking throughout.
Right.
And so we drafted Jameson knowing we were going to trade him right away.
Nice. Well, to finish off the top 10, we got Robert Traylor going to Dallas.
Tractor trailer, baby.
Tractor trailer.
Oh, shit. I messed up my vehicle. No!
That guy pulled down so many rims.
Rest in peace, right?
Did he really in the 7 seasons?
A couple years ago.
Nice.
Oh no, I don't know.
Oh, he passed away.
He passed away.
Yeah.
Well, to recover from that, don't forget Jason Williams going 7th overall to Sacramento.
Oh yeah, the white candy. Damn it, chocolate! No.
Larry Hughes.
You're never getting these. You're always.
I'm so close.
You are so close, though. Kudos.
Damn it.
Close.
Larry Hughes went 8th to 5th to Philadelphia.
I just got a cameo video from him from my friends.
Larry Hughes?
Yep, it's $10 on Cameo.
Oh my, $10.
$10, that's it.
This man had 13 seasons in the
that
NBA.
video to Matt.
Yep, I definitely will.
Oh my God. The last two picks of the top 10 were huge. Dirk Nowitzki went 9th to Milwaukee, and Paul Pierce went 10th overall to Boston.
Wow, massive.
Yeah. This is a pretty
huge draft. I remember that draft being huge.
It's a pretty good draft. Now I know we had Keon Clark for a bit, right?
We did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
And Rasho.
Yeah, he went 13th overall.
Sorry? Mr. Rafer Alston himself going in the second round.
That is true. Rafer Alston, he was one of my late but great picks that I was going to let you guys know about. But thank you, Patrick.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Don't worry.
Yeah,
this is
guys,
a collaborative
don't steal
effort.
Matt's shit. Hey, Matt, give us the highlights.
He didn't say
these
Catino Mobley. That was my other one for our late but great.
These freaks are going to ruin everything for you, Matt. You got to hit us with the highlights.
I'm going to say Too Bad, So Sad, What a Waste award goes to Corleone Young. I think he only played 3 games, but if he was a star, he'd have been like called the Godfather, Corleone. Would have been a really cool thing for him in the press.
Big time name.
Huge name. And yeah, that's pretty much it for... Do you guys see any other highlights that you like? Al Harrington, that was a pretty good pick.
Earl Boykins,
Nazar
the
Muhammad.
shortest player in the NBA history. I'm a big fan of Earl Boykins.
Raptors fans might remember
he's a 5'9".
Amacio Baston.
Oh, yeah.
He was a Raptor for a short period. Wait, but Matt, what were you going to say about Coutinho Mobley?
Oh, I was just going to say he was my other late but great pick. He was in the second round.
With Houston.
Yeah.
Late but gray pick. His hair's gray now.
Late but gray.
We have current GM drafted 44th overall, Sean Marks.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. You got another coach in there, and Tyronn Lue. This is
stepped over by Allen Iverson.
Yeah, that's true. Pretty heavy draft. So I'll just ask 3 trivia questions for you guys.
Okay.
And I'm going to start with you, Yao.
Okay.
So obviously Dirk is quite the leader in a lot of categories. But looking at the total points total, who has the most points between Antoine Jameson, Paul Pierce, or Vince Carter?
I tell you right now, I already know the answer is Vince Carter. Vince Carter, I think, is like, it's just like weird. He's like super high up there, but Vince Carter, yeah. No?
Yeah, no. Paul Pierce has 26,397 to Vince's 25,728.
Someone's gonna laugh at me.
Yeah, he's close, but if he can finish the season, maybe he can get another 700 points.
Humble pie for Yao. That was big. That was a big moment, man.
It was. Chew it up.
Vince Carter drops 100 points a game.
Because I actually thought Paul Pierce, but then when Yao started being like so confident about Vince, I started thinking back to last year when Vince got to the 25,000 club, and I was like, oh, I guess Paul. I just started thinking maybe Paul never did.
I never thought Paul Pierce got to the 25,000 club.
I guess he just had such a consistent scoring. Okay, I'm locked in for this trivia, Matt. I want to get mine right. I got mine wrong last week.
Okay, Freddie. Well, this question's for you. Okay. Now, this one is the total assists in this draft. Now, is it Vince Carter? Is it Dirk Nowitzki? Or is it Mike Bibby?
Oh, God.
Ooh, this one's tough because... obviously, Mike Bibby is the point guard. He racked up assists, but then we're talking Dirk and Vince.
Had very long careers.
So long.
Yeah.
Man, oh man. Let me go Bibby.
Wow.
Good stuff. Yeah, Mike Bibby played 14 seasons, and he had 5,517 assists. Vince Carter has currently 4,714, so he's about 800 behind.
What's his average for his career?
His
average for assists?
For assists, 5.5.
Oh, wow. Not too shabby.
Yeah, 14 seasons, 5.5.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Just do the math.
Yeah. I'm just letting people know, like, hey, math still works. No worries.
Now, my last question will be for you, Patrick. Now, of these 3 players, who has the best career 3-point percentage?
Uh-oh.
We've got Dirk Nowitzki.
Okay.
We've got Paul Pierce.
No way.
And we've got Tyronn Lue.
I feel like this is a trick question because I feel like Lou shot like 4 threes. I'm going to say Dirk. Is it Lou?
It's Lou.
Yeah, it's Lou.
Lou's got a 391. Dirk's got a 380.
Because I know it's not Paul Pierce because that guy chucked him up a lot in the mid-2000s.
Yeah.
Matty D, curveball, fastball,
I know,
curveball.
jeez. Yeah, Paul Pierce had a 368. Still respectable. But, guys, that was the 1998 draft and the year 1998. And in the words of Sir Elton John, let me get you back to the pleasant times of 2020. We're back. Is everything better?
Everything's better.
Oh.
We all remember Sir Elton John's famous quote, whatever you just said. But that was wonderful.
You live your life like a candle
In the wind.
Yeah, beautiful. That would be a precarious life. Candle in the wind. Just saying. Let's talk. Okay, yeah, right. So, my last question actually, and this is more so just to kind of explore some of the more underappreciated teams, because it's always such a, the narratives are so title driven, that if you don't walk away with a champion or with a title, often you just kind of aren't remembered in a nuanced way or appreciated properly. The Phoenix, the Barkley Suns were kind of highlighted in these last two episodes of Last Dance, and so were the Knicks. The Pistons earlier were highlighted, but the Pistons obviously won. But even before that, they highlighted some of the Craig Elo Cavaliers. So the Cavaliers, those teams were really good, and they didn't win either. So let me go to you first, Yao, and we'll do this kind of like we did the other question, where if you think of something later, we'll just kind of like hop back and forth between what each one of us can remember. But Yao, is there a series that isn't a final series that comes to mind? Like, what's like your favorite series? Let's see if we can get away from the Raptors. Let's.
Oh, my favorite series that's not a final series? Jeez.
Yeah. And it's also not an eventual champion.
Like the series, the champion wasn't in that series.
Actually, you know what? Let me retract that, because I don't want to make it too specific. Just the best series you like in your mind that wasn't in the finals.
No, the series where the Nuggets upset the Supersonics in that iconic image of Dikembe Mutombo holding the ball and just in pure jubilation, because
I don't know if I exactly remember that.
Was that the first ever eight?
It was the first ever eight beating a one seed, but it happened in a 5-game series, because that was back when the first round was 5 out of 5, and then and so the Nuggets came out of nowhere and beat the Supersonics. And at the end of the game, they're on the floor in Seattle because they went to 5 games. And Dikembe Mutombo grabs the rebound and he's celebrating. He's holding the ball and clutching it. Look it up. It's the series I clearly remember, because he was just
You just gave me at least 5 YouTube videos to watch.
Yeah. And he was just so happy. It was you remember basketball being a business and everyone having to be professional, especially I played a lot. So it was a lot of handshakes and don't show how happy you are or upset you are for winning a game or losing a game. But that guy had a right to be, was so happy to win, and he just holding the ball. And I just love it. That's my favorite series. And the Nuggets did not go on to win. They lost the next round handily.
Yeah, that's a really good one too, because sometimes there's an incredible series and both teams, don't make the finals, and then they're just super forgotten. Pat, is there a series that kind of stands out to you as an incredible series that people don't really talk about?
Yeah, I remember as a young man I watched this, and I enjoyed it so much. The 2009 first round Bulls versus Celtics.
Okay, is this Derrick Rose's first playoffs?
Yep. This is Derrick Rose's first playoffs. Every game pretty
fun.
much was an overtime game besides one, and it was so tightly contested. Ben Gordon was like Kobe Bryant too. John Salmons was getting buckets.
Ben Gordon, oh my God.
Yeah.
Ben,
I think it was
England,
2
Gordon,
versus
right?
7. Pardon?
I said Ben from England, Gordon, right?
I think that's Luau Deng, but I like it.
Yeah. Honestly, I messed that up with a weird joke. Sorry, go
Great
on.
nickname though from England. No, yeah, it's that series was really, really like amazing because it made you think Derrick Rose is the next greatest player.
Yeah, oh my God.
And also I love those young Bulls teams. They were just a lot of fun to watch. Like I love Tyrese Thomas too much.
Well, and Noah.
And Noah.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it was
Noah
a very fun young
amazing.
team.
And like Butler was on those teams, or he wasn't on
Nope,
that team. I don't think
he wasn't drafted yet.
Yeah, he joined a little bit later, but like he was like kind of a young, like very early on, a part of like. I think he you played with Noah and Rose for a little bit.
Yeah, it was 2011 he was drafted, or it was 2011 he was drafted. Yeah, but that team, like I love watching young teams that aren't supposed to be good, but then being good, and like also just that Bulls team from the mid 2000s with like Kirk Heinrich and Dang, and this weird rebuild that didn't really work but kind of worked, and then it turned into this young team that was very exciting. So yeah, that was a great series. I recommend watching that again.
Yeah, that's a good one. You guys,
you know what I just watched?
Wicked picks.
You know what I just watched, Freddie?
Sure.
Couple hours before the pod. You know what was on TV? The 2016 Game 7 NBA Final, Cavs versus Golden State. And, you know, that's always going to have some good emotion in it with, you know, LeBron bringing it home for the first time to Cleveland.
Oh, man. That to me is like maybe... I mean, it's up there as far as like my favorite finals ever. I think like it would be tough to narrow down my favorite finals ever, but I think that one's definitely up there. Like the Spurs Heat 7 games, is up there for sure. And just that game is crazy. Like you have the chase down block, and
that was nuts.
the Kyrie shot over Curry,
And also the Kevin Love defense.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
My
the Kevin Love
favorite thing in the
defense
world.
for sure.
Crazy guys.
And that's also a good. Like I love these moments where like a guy who doesn't necessarily do a thing is like, oh yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's or like that's like Dennis Rodman being like, okay, I'm gonna hit 10 free throws in a row because I'm crazy like that. But my series, I guess it's a bit more recent than you guys, but my series is the Draymond judo kicking Steven Adams in the balls 7-game series with Golden State Warriors and Durant before Durant joined the Warriors. To me was just like it was the blueprint to beat that Warriors team. And I really think OKC they had them. And that year OKC beat an incredible Spurs team as well, if I'm not mistaken. And just the defense of Adams and Ibaka and Durant was just out of control. They ended up losing that series, and obviously Durant left, but that to me that series is just so dramatic. 7 games and like intense the whole way through, with just like at least 3 MVP caliber players going off every night.
Mm-hmm.
Who started here? Was it you, Yao? When we were talking, did any series jump to mind?
Outside of that, no, because I was thinking, because when you originally put the caveat of like none of these teams ended up going to the finals, that's the only series I could think of where I thoroughly enjoyed, and none of the teams went out to the finals, it's just a lot of fun. There was a series where like I can't remember who the Suns were playing against. I just remember like a Rex Chapman, there's a name that comes out of nowhere, hit this like this last second 3-pointer in a game. I don't remember if it was a playoff game or get him in the playoffs, but it was like this like 2-step sort of a chuck, but they broke down the analyst 3. But I don't remember if that was playoffs. I just remember Dikembe Mutombo just going crazy in 94. It was 94, by the way.
Right. Yeah, I think there was some pretty good Spurs Suns series for sure. I think the Suns have been a part of some really the Suns have had some really exciting, incredible teams that like haven't won it all.
There was the 90. I think was it 95 or 90, the first year Jordan got back and they played against the Magic.
Oh yeah,
It was
right.
also a lot of fun. Where like Michael Jordan was back and everyone was really excited about that. He played a few games and Shaq dunked on Jordan, which no one talks about, and everyone was like, "Did Shaq just dunk on Michael Jordan?" And then you'd hear a lot of people go, "Well, it's not the same Michael Jordan, and throw these excuses, and then they end up going to the finals and losing to Houston." But
Yeah, because the Shaq then got bullied by Olajuwon.
yeah,
Like Shaq hadn't had his moment yet.
no,
That it was still like young, incredible Shaq. That was not like the champion.
Oh,
But yeah, I think that about does it for unless anyone Pat, you got any series jump to mind?
There's a lot of Lob City.
Yes.
Great series.
Yes, you're right.
Chris Paul in the playoffs is so good. Like he is unbelievable in the playoffs. Like I think there's a lot of Chris Paul series, just period, that are amazing series. Like, didn't he play the Lakers once with the Hornets, and that was an amazing series?
I mean that Clippers Spurs series. It's just one for the ages.
And like that was the same years as that weird Josh Smith Houston big comeback that
Yes,
got
yeah.
them back. Yeah, no,
God.
I think Chris Paul is just watch a good game of Chris Paul and it's a fantastic game. You know?
Yeah.
So I think like Lob City or just any Chris Paul series more or less.
Honestly, good suggestions for the listeners if they want to kind of bury themselves in some basketball highlights. But let's finish this baby off strong with some quickish questions. What do you say, boyos?
yay!
Woo!
Matty, would you give me that quickish questions sting?
Quickish questions.
You guys have no idea how much I'm multitasking right now. I'm like breaking up a dogfight, doing stings at the same time while on mute.
Yeah, you're the hardest working producer in the biz.
Wow,
wild times.
Matt, I appreciate everything you do, and even more so than that, I appreciate you navigating a bunch of screens because I'm having a tough time just getting to my quickish questions, and that's only one tab. So, guys, through cheers for Matt. He's putting out fires. He's probably kissing dogs.
Yeah. Got a lot of dogs here.
Okay, we've arrived here at Quickish Questions. It's going to be quick this time. There's not a lot of questions, but even still, there's no phoning a friend. You can't delay. I need you guys to answer as quick as you possibly can. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to go Pat, Yao, Matt.
Got it.
Pat.
Yep.
Pick an album a day for 10 days with no explanation.
Oh, Lord.
You got it.
Okay. You know what? He didn't say list them, so
He
I
didn't.
think
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I got 10 days. I'm going to do it.
Put it on your Insta story.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What basketball accessory is the most useless? Example: arms, sleeves, headbands.
Ugh. I don't think any of them are useless to any player that makes them feel like they have a mental advantage of wearing it. Like, I used to wear a wristband on my forearm where it did not do anything, but I also had like the best games I ever played. So the closest I'll come to is when a bald-headed athlete wears a headband. I always think it's funny, but I don't really believe that any of them are useless if they really want to wear them.
Okay, nice short answer from
Yeah, I
you.
know, right?
Matt, last question of the pod.
Oh boy.
Who in the NBA has the best hair at this point in the quarantine?
God. Okay, well, I don't really know. I haven't seen many players who would have the best hair. I'm going to say any player that in the league that bics it, like that is bald and they have to bick their skull, if they've in the quarantine let a skullet grow out, you are 100% the one who has the best hair. I want to see those skullets.
Ooh, I like that. Okay, I'm having a bit too much fun, so I'm going to make up 3 dumb questions.
Awesome.
Pat, in this vein, who at this point has the weirdest facial hair in the NBA?
Oh, right now, it's it's Evan Fournier. He has like a half beard. It's really stupid.
Okay, I like that a lot.
Is it just a neck beard?
No, he shaved half of his beard like Two-Face.
What?
That's
Like a quarantine
amazing.
joke, or is that?
I don't know. Maybe it's a French thing.
okay. Yeah,
Sounds
this
insane.
one's for you.
Yes.
At this point in quarantine, who is actually in better shape than when quarantine started?
Outside of LeBron James, who is spending his millions of dollars on his body, and Giannis, who clearly who was hurt before, he just got banged up right the weekend before in the loss against the Lakers, and is probably in better shape now. I'm gonna say it's Kyle Lowry. Kyle, I think Skinny Kyle made a comeback over this. I think he refused all the baked bread, and he just had his game face on. I think he is coming back to put on his magnum opus.
Matt.
I have a joke answer.
Oh,
Okay. Go ahead.
James Harden, no strip clubs. Matt, go ahead.
That's amazing.
hard notes.
Matt, at this point in the quarantine,
Yes.
which player or coach or personality do you think has decided that the only good form of music is jazz?
Oh wow.
Just pick somebody who's decided, you know what? Everything but jazz sucks.
Everything but jazz. Okay, I'll go with. I think because you can never figure them out. I'm gonna say OG would say something like that.
Whoa, that's a good one.
Oh,
Ooh, okay. All right.
That's a good answer.
That does it for Quickish Questions. That's it for the pod. Everyone, thank you so much for listening. Share, subscribe, all that good stuff.
All that
but
jazz.
Yeah, all that jazz, baby. Yes. All that OG jazz. Matt, sorry. Before I throw to Matt, I meant to say Pat.
Yeah.
Hi.
Pat, it's quarantine times, obviously, but we're all performers here. Do you got anything going on? Are you doing anything? If not, do you have a message to the world?
I was supposed to be recording a country album, but can't do that anymore because I can't go in the studio. That's fun. Just please follow me on Instagram at Pat6God. I do funny content on there. I don't know. Just
Yeah, you're
laugh at me.
hilarious. Yeah, same to you, buddy. If you don't have any fun comedy stuff going on right now, that's okay. If you do, cool. But if not, what's your message to the world?
World, if you want to be productive, great. If you want to chill and watch Netflix, that's great. What you should do, regardless, is follow me on Instagram. It's Yow Experience, YAW Experience. I'm having a lot of fun with music and reposting other people's stuff. And everything else that I am doing personally is writing. So it's not fun for people to see a script. It's just typing on a page. But the most fun I have is that and running. That's it.
Right on.
Man.
Cool. Well, Matt, I'll leave it with you. Do you want to send this pod into the sweet, sweet night?
Yeah, just everyone keep your head up, and you got to take the little pleasantries as they come. You've got a Twix bar. Don't feel the pressure to share. You're in quarantine. Eat both and enjoy them.
Both sides of the Twix. That's what Matt's saying, guys. Don't mess around. All right. Thanks so much, and we'll see you guys next week.
All right.
There it is.
It's the Confederacy of Dunks Basketball Podcast.